Which propaganda effort was so successful, people still believe it today? That teeth are supposed to be perfectly white. Teeth are supposed to be off-white. Think of teeth like skin. Skin comes in different shades, just like teeth. At least that's what my dentist told me while he was checking my prostate. Many Korean people believe that fans can cause death. Even my mother, who moved to America in her mid-teens, still prohibits me from leaving a fan on overnight for fear of death. There is a conspiracy theory that the South Korean government spread this myth as propaganda to prevent energy overusage, but its origins are unknown. It's strange that many Koreans believe this myth considering it is one of the most technologically advanced countries. It's a real danger. Remember John Lennon was killed by a fan. Carrots make your vision better. This rumor was started in WW2 to hide the invention of radar. The public was told that Allied pilots found the German bombers during the Blitz because they had good eyesight, because they ate their carrots. But in reality it was that the British had an early radar system in place that they did not want the Germans to find out about and bomb. That Napoleon Bonaparte was short. He was 5 feet and 7 inches tall, which might be a little bit on the shorter side by modern standards, but it was around the average height for people back then. The idea that he was short actually came from a British propaganda campaign to mock him. Also, due to starting out as an artillery officer, when he got high rank, he sometimes liked to micromanage the cannons, a job meant for corporals. This earned him the nickname Little Corporal from his troops. It's a term of endearment. The Brits may have heard it and put more emphasis on the little part. That big curvy line of toothpaste with a Dairy Queen curl we've seen in every toothpaste ad. You don't need more than a pea-sized smear of paste on your brush. I always only use a little pea-sized, but I have also never really thought about the massive squeeze they put on the brush in the commercials, lol. Do you think they did this so you go through their product faster, meaning you have to buy more? Columbus was the only person who believed the world was round. Literally everyone who could read knew that the earth was round. Nobody thought Columbus would fall off the edge. They thought his crew would starve to death before reaching the East Indies, and he totally would have. Columbus was lucky that there was a new continent where he thought Asia was. Sugar companies paid the media to say that fat made you fat. I mean, all food in extreme amounts will put you on the heavy side, but sugar is a true villain here. There's a book written in the 80s I think called The White Death. The author was basically hounded almost to death by sugar companies and mocked and treated like scum for telling the truth. Edit, massive facepalm for going blank on The White Death. Legendary Finnish sniper, even though many of you kept bringing him up. I completely forgot it was his book that was named that and not the sugar one. You may be thinking a pure, white, and deadly? Also, check out Dr. Lustig's talk on high fructose corn syrup. Apparently in the 80s KFC ran a Christmas themed ad in Japan, and to this day the Japanese eat KFC on Christmas. When I was in Japan on Christmas, I won some dumb quiz at a party and they gave me fried chicken because they believed that was our traditional Christmas food. It was ridiculous, and it is one of those really odd memories of mine. That if you ask if someone is a cop, if they are a cop, they legally are required to say yes they are. Of course they aren't required to. That defeats the entire purpose of working undercover. It's standard procedure while working undercover to say yes lol when asked. If you're a cop, bonus points for dabbing. That touching a baby bad will make its mother eject it. Lies. Put the baby back in the nest if Tao can. Edit, I'm leaving the typo because it's hilarious. That the old woman who sued McDonald's over burning herself with her coffee was just money hungry. For clarity, an elderly woman was a passenger in a car, pulled over in the lot to add sugar after getting a coffee, and it spilled all over her lap. It burned her really bad, and she just set out to get McDonald's to pay her hospital bills. BC they served the coffee way too hot. They ended up launching this whole PR campaign where they smeared this poor lady, even taking out spots in local papers over how silly and money hungry she was. Comedians, musicians, and radio hosts made fun of her and made her out to be money hungry instead of a victim. The myth that Spartans threw unhealthy babies off mountains. This was Athenian propaganda. Actually, people from every polis would abandon babies if they felt like it. See Oedipus. The Athenians claimed that Spartans ritualized the practice. The Spartans' main problem was all the child raping. Edit. To all you people who think I'm talking about pederasty, I'm not. I'm talking about the process by which boys as young as 7 would be sent to have sex with a retired general to toughen them up, or the fact that in military camps younger boys would be beaten and raped as part of a hazing ritual. There was also a lot of slave raping going on. People still believe dogs don't see in color, when in fact they do. They see less of it than humans do, but they most definitely see in color. A successful propaganda campaign by cats to smear their bitter rivals. Autism and vaccines. The original guy wanted to advertise his own vaccine, but did not disclose this when he published a hit piece on the mainstream vaccine at the time, in a reputable journal. His alternative vaccine failed, his paper was bashed and ultimately retracted, yet people smart enough to work at Google don't vaccinate their kids. Andrew Wakefield, a former gastroenterologist and the man responsible for this anti-vax shit show, originally wanted to prove that vaccines were responsible for bowel disease as well as linking it to autism. He was put through a tribunal by the GMC. It was found that not only had he lied about his research, but was found to have committed 12 acts of abuse against developmentally disabled children after he put them through unnecessary and invasive procedures to try and prove that vaccines were responsible for autism and bowel disease. He put young children through unnecessary colonoscopies and lumbar punctures, spinal taps. He was struck off from the medical register and is no longer allowed to practice medicine. He continues to make a living promoting and speaking at anti-vaccine propaganda events. People should remember that anti-vaxxers are looking to an abuser found to have put developmentally disabled children through unnecessary medical procedures for advice. Let's not understate how much of a piece of shit the man is. That a man should spend 2 months' salary for his future wife's wedding ring, which absolutely must be a diamond. Screw that. I spent a total of $150 for my wife's ring and she fucking loves it, and it's a sapphire. Diamonds are no more precious than any other precious gem, and manufactured gems are way easier to come by, are more perfect, and so much cheaper. As long as it's an actual ruby slash sapphire slash emerald slash etc, it will be just as good as one dug out of the ground. Fake ones are good for a teen gift or just friends kind of gift, but they'll shatter pretty easy compared to the real thing. That you only use 10% of your brain. In reality, you use pretty much all your brain capacity, so neuroscience has proven quite thoroughly. In the same way we only use 33% of a traffic light. Lie detector tests are accurate. They're junk science at best. People, when the inventor of the device and procedures used is on record saying it's crap, we should probably listen. Looking at you, Florida, for allowing LD test results as evidence in court. The lie that nuclear power is terrible. It is worse than renewables. However, instead of chucking huge quantities of dangerous waste into the air like a coal power plant, it can all be contained, and 95% can be reprocessed into new fuel. In the 60s and 70s, a lot of oil giants used advertising to link its reputation to the very real danger of nuclear weapons, and if this hadn't have happened, global warming would have been much less of an issue. Very few people realize that coal power actually causes more deaths per MW than nuclear power due to nitrous oxide emissions, even when Chernobyl is included in the statistics. Edit. A lot of people are saying that nuclear is as good, or possibly better than renewables. I agree that at the moment, for baseline power, it is better, and we should be using it a lot more. In the long term though, I think that renewable are a better solution due to not needing refueling and needing less oversight. Once production of the power plants themselves becomes cleaner and better storage solutions are devised. Nestle done a smear campaign saying formula feeding is best. They mainly done it in third world countries. Nestle owns majority of formula companies, so they got rich, and uneducated third world countries suffered as they would rather use this healthier option, but made it with dirty water, meaning children died, which wasn't needed as most have no issue making breast milk. Nestle is amongst the most evil companies in the world, and they are still doing these messed up practices today. The way they monopolize water sources should be outright illegal. The idea that fluoridated drinking water was dangerous was started by the USSR. The belief that HIV was created by the US government was also started by the USSR, but that one's not nearly as popular today. Edit. I should clarify, bifluoridated drinking water was dangerous. They were specifically promoting the idea that it was being used for mind and population control.